Hey, it's Ashley, and we are live on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. And you know that I am the boot babe, and I know everything there is to know about cowboy boots and Western traditions. And today I have someone who is the cowgirl boot queen, I swear, of the Western United States. Michelle is here with me. She is, I called her Michelle Darlene because that's what her Instagram handle is, but her name is Michelle Marquez. And this is what's so funny about social media. So, welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Yeah, yeah. I bet a lot of people think you're Michelle Darlene.
Yes, I do get a lot. It's funny because a lot of people ask me, like, "What's your last name? Is it Darlene?" I'm like, "No, my last name's Marquez." So, a little bit of a background story. I have another sister named Michelle. When we were younger, I would always have to add my middle name so they can tell us apart. So that's the reason how pretty much my whole life I've gone by Michelle Darlene.
Oh my gosh, this is very interesting. How did your mom name you the same thing? This is really interesting. Why did
So my parents are divorced. I've actually talked about it on my TikTok. I was open about it. So my dad had to do some time and it wasn't a very nice situation. So later on, my mom found out there was another family. And that's how we found out that we had another sibling by the name of Michelle. But we all get along so well. She's a little bit taller than me and a little bit more on the darker complexion. So that's how you can tell us apart. But we do have our eyes are almond shaped and everything. And the way we laugh, it's so similar. So when we went to high school together my freshman year, they gave me her sophomore classes and they gave her my freshman classes. I was a big deal about it. So that's how I was like, okay, no, Michelle Darlene. And she's okay, Michelle Stephanie's. Yeah, it was a pretty tough situation at the time when all of it happened, but it was very awesome to know that we had more siblings. I just love them all so much now.
I'm like my mouth is on the ground. So we have this on YouTube and on and listening. So please go watch this on YouTube because my mouth just whacks the ground. What in the world? This is the coolest story. I guess I missed this TikTok. It's so hard
Yeah,
to consume everyone's content.
I know.
Oh, what a story. What an
Yeah.
amazing adventure, though, to be able to learn and grow with someone else and have fun. And how you get a sister named your same name. This is so rare. I've never heard of this happening.
And it's 9 of us, so it's 7 sisters and 2 brothers, and so it's a really big family, so when it comes to the holidays, we have a full house.
Are you running around in your Western attire at the holidays every time?
Yes, my family follows me, and they always cheer me on when it comes to my content, and they're always complimenting me. My dad, he's very proud, "Yeah, this is my daughter." So I do work for our local Western store, we have 3 locations, the name is Star Western Wear. That was actually my first big collab that I did with them when I first started, so I have, posters hanging in the store, so my dad will go in there, and if he's, like, with someone that doesn't know that my posters are across the store, he'll be like, "Yeah, that's my daughter up there." So proud.
I
It's like,
love this
"Oh my
so
gosh."
much.
So it's pretty cool, but yeah, I'm the one that dresses very Western. So every time there's, like, a Western event here in El Paso, my family comes to me, they're like, "Hey, what can I wear?" And I help them out.
Yeah, you are amazing. Speaking of helping people out, that's what you're doing now. Is it full time? You're a content creator and an influencer, I would say, full time.
Yes, I would say so. I am also a stay-at-home mom, so I have to balance everything. I have really crazy days sometimes where I cannot have time to make content, but that's when I prepare myself days before to be dispersing my content throughout the week. But yeah, I'm pretty busy all the time. If I'm not being a mom, I'm being a content creator. And if I'm not being a content creator, I'm being a mom or a ranch wife because we need to keep our horses in shape. And since I am newly into barrel racing, I have to keep them in shape, stay consistent, practice, and my best friend, which is also my trainer, she pushes me to be the best version of myself. So I'm always busy, either in the house, outside in the ranch, or on my phone. It may look like I'm texting, but no, I'm editing or looking through pictures and working with businesses.
Yeah, that's so fun, and you are so fun to watch, right? I really enjoyed watching your profile grow. Tell
Thank
me
you.
about timeline-wise, how it works for you. When did you start using social media? Give me a timeline and maybe how old you are. People are really curious, right? Because a lot of people are trying to figure out, "How do I do this for a living?" And I think it's possible for most people.
Yes. So thank you for asking that. It's been quite of a journey because it started when COVID started. I was one of those people that was like, I'm never going to download TikTok because it just consumes so much time out of your day. But then as I started scrolling, I'm like, no, I could do this. I could make some type of an income because I was laid off of work. I used to be a service advisor at Subaru. I got laid off and my husband told me, "It's okay. I want you to take care of the kids. Everything's fine." So I said, "Okay, I have all this time. What do I do?" So then I said to myself, "I've always wanted to be a content creator." I had started off with makeup back in 2013, freshly out of high school. I had a YouTube channel, but it didn't work well. And at that time, that's when like Laura Lee and a bunch of other makeup gurus were, on a hike of, being very well known for their makeup. And so I got inspired by them and I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. Cause at that time, my friends would be like, oh, you should do makeup tutorials. So it inspired me to even want to do it more, but it didn't work out. So I think I still have my YouTube page up, but I just never did nothing to it. And then or fast forward to 2020, I told myself the Western life, incorporate like Western fashion. So then that's when I started doing shopping hauls. And that's basically how my account started growing little by little, showing people like what we would buy. And since we were in the process of buying our own house also, and we were looking for a ranch to be more specific. And my husband and I were like, we want our home like from the inside and out. So we were buying like home decor and just furniture, comforters, and I started doing shopping hauls with all of those items, and it caught people's attention, and I was like, "Okay, this is so cool." I like sharing where I got everything from, and people are liking it, and it's pretty awesome because sometimes when I'm looking for something and someone shows, "I got this here," and it's, "Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know you can get that there." It's pretty cool. So little by little, I started incorporating my Western fashion because I needed a new closet. From there, that's when we moved into our house and I brought everybody into the journey. I think there's a tour back in 2021, I think, on my TikTok. I do a little tour around our house, but our house has changed so much ever since. And if you've been following me for a while, you can see all of the work, and they're actually working in my house right now where we're extending it. So I don't know if you can hear drills right now, and I'm so sorry for that. But my our house is just extending, and we've just been doing projects here and there. But yeah, that's pretty much how I was able to integrate all of that into my content and share it with everybody. And I do get a lot of followers are like, "Oh, like you're so lucky you get to live that lifestyle." I'm like, lucky, I'm not sure, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not just about going outside and petting your animals. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes the way of life can sometimes when there's animals that don't make it because of something, that's like kind of the sad part on that lifestyle. But other than that, it's just really rewarding at the end, so humbling, and you get to learn a lot. We're also in the process of wanting to grow our own garden. So my husband he bought strawberries and he planted those. He's so excited. We have a peach tree and we have a pomegranate tree. So little by little, we're working on our little garden, despite that we have prairie dogs out here in the desert and they steal our fruits. They do. They steal them and the roadrunners too. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to keep up with you. It's like keeping up with Michelle. How's the roadrunners? Are they killing your pomegranate tree? You're so cute right now. It's fun. It sounds like you're living this life. Did you ever expect to be having this kind of lifestyle?
You know what? When I was a little girl, I've loved horses. Here in El Paso, there was a horse stable called Pokironi, and my mom used to take me there for riding lessons. And then as I grew, she ended up taking me to Underwood Stables. So I've always loved horses. My mom, she was born and raised in Mexico on a ranch out in Olivos, and she lived that lifestyle. And out of everybody, I wanted to live that lifestyle. So my mom, I feel so bad because my mom, she tried her best to take me around horses, but because we lived in the city now, it was difficult to find until we found Pookie Road. And when I was little, I always told myself, when I grow up, I'm gonna have my own horses and I'm gonna ride them whenever I want. So as I grew, I told myself, if I get married, I need to marry a cowboy.
Okay, this is good. This is good advice.
And so on 4th of July, back in 2014, I met my husband. He was on a horse. And
In El Paso?
yeah, we were at Red Sands. It's a kind of a very deserty area. Everybody takes their 4x4s, horses, off-road vehicles, and it's basically like a party out in the desert. So on 4th of July of 2014, that's when I met my husband. He was on a horse with his friends, and I pretty much scooped him up. I was like, "Hey, you're cute." We kicked it off, and we got married in 2017. And, it's so funny because when I met him, he didn't have horses. He was borrowing his friend's horses, but 3 weeks after knowing me, he went to buy our horse Texas, our paint, which he's my burro horse now. And I told my husband, I was like, "You just bought him because I like horses, huh?" He's, "No." I was like, "Yeah, you did. You were just trying to convince me to, I don't know, date you or something." And till this day, he's in denial, but it's so funny because he's been such a wonderful horse. When we first got him, he was green, which green means he needed work done. He didn't have a lot of rides on the saddle, and he would buck my husband off. And I laugh till this day because when I would ride him, he wouldn't buck me off of him. And I had told him, I guess he has a favorite. And my husband, I remember he would tell me, "Don't ride by yourself. I don't trust the horse." But look at us now. I
Yeah.
can ride him bareback, and he's just been such a wonderful horse. But that's how I was able to get into the lifestyle, and thankfully, I'm very grateful to God and my husband for all the hard work, and it takes two also. I had to make sacrifices down the road to be able to be where we're at. Thankfully, my kids are able to enjoy this beautiful lifestyle also, being away from the city and the pollution, and it's so magical out here. The sunsets, the sunrises, so beautiful.
Oh, you're a very grateful person. I really appreciate that about you. How old are your kids? I have to know.
I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Gosh, you have a magic family.
I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and 1 girl. My daughter, she's the oldest, she's 12, and then my son, the middle child, and then my youngest, and yeah, they love being outdoors here. They get to see the bunny. I think my son, I had him when I was teen. When I met my husband, he had his daughter, so I'm not sure what time on his timeline, how old he was, and then my youngest, Justin, I had him, I don't quite remember how old I was when I had him, but
5 years ago. How old is he? 5?
he's 5, yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm 29, so I guess 24?
Right. 24, 25. That's amazing though. That's a great timeline. You know what? Everybody does it differently and there's no wrong way to do it. Yeah, and it's amazing that you have 3 children and you're a content creator and you're a barrel racer. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's doing it all. This is so inspiring." I
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it is inspiring, and I think a lot of people, like I said, sometimes I know a lot of things about you, but I missed that TikTok, right? Where was that TikTok? I, like, missed it, and it wasn't viral enough for it to get in my For You page, and
Yeah.
it is so challenging, and that's why Western fashion behind the scenes has been so rewarding, because people can hear a story that lasts forever. People get to hear who you are, and they get to see who you are. Speaking of people, a lot of brands listen to this, so if a brand wanted to contact you and work with you, how have you been doing that, and what's your schedule like? And speak to that a little bit.
My DMs on Instagram are open 24/7. Usually, if it's on a weekend, I don't typically reply just because I am taking a break from my kids' sports and school and homework. But for more than half the time, I'm always available. I do see the messages. I also have my Gmail, which is michelledarlene14 at gmail.com. That's my work email. And as far as my Instagram handle, it's Michelle Darlene if y'all want to work together. MICHELEDARLENEE.
Perfect. Yes, I'll put that in the notes. I know you're inspired by creators. You have to be, right? What are you consuming? This is a fun question to ask content creators. What are you consuming regularly, or who are you consuming?
I do want to say Shaylee, also known as West Desperado. When I first hopped onto TikTok, I remember specifically the Big Iron song by Marty Robbins.
Mm.
One of her videos stumbled onto my For You page, and I got hooked on it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous, like, her style, perfect." I was just very speechless by her content, and I wanna say she was part of the motivation that made me jump on to TikTok. But I do take a lot of inspiration from her. I love her style from being a ranchy girl to cleaning up nicely and being like a classy cowgirl. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so much fun." So
Yeah.
yes, her most definitely. Her content is really spot on. I love it so much.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of boots do you wear? Tell me about your boot journey. Where did you get your first pair of cowboy boots? And how many do you have now?
My first pair of boots were Tony Llamas. My husband used to work there, so he got me my first pair of Tony Llama boots. It's funny because I used to just be a high heel girl. I was in 5-inch heels all the time. And when my husband bought me my first pair of boots, I was like, "Oh my gosh, these are really pretty." And so because he was working at Tony Llama, I would go into the store to go visit him. And then I started looking like different types of boots and the cowhide boots and just all the different type of boots and styles that they have. And I'm like, wow, like these are so nice. So that's how I started getting my interest into boots. So now I have 30 pairs of boots, which I'm very thankful being able to work with all of these amazing companies that have sent them to me. And on the side, also, I've purchased a few. I want to say it's hard to narrow down which is my favorite boot because all of my boots are different. I love to wear a square toe when I'm horseback riding. I like to wear snip toe when I am dressing up fancy. It just depends on the occasion if I'm wanting to go retro or elegant. And I feel like every boot that I have has its own, category.
I would say boots are part of your personality and each
Yes, exactly, uh-huh.
yeah, that's the boot babe, right? The boot babes are this group of women who they believe that all boots are part of your personality. And once you figure out
Yeah,
how to wear them properly, you have much funner life because they are the center of the attention. They can bring you anything you want. They can get you anywhere you want to go. And they can you became a barrel racer in boots. Like that is so
yes.
cool. And you were a city cowgirl. You were not from the barrel racing world.
Yeah, and I just feel like boots are always so much fun, and I feel like it can tell a lot of a person. Like you said, every boot has its own personality.
Yeah, when you look at a person and they have whatever they have on, you're like, huh, it says something about this person. And you say, oh, this person must be like this, right? They're wearing
Yeah.
split-toed boots with their pants tucked in. I'm like, you're from Wyoming, man. Like what?
Yeah.
Or you're from South Texas, maybe. There's snakes down there. I know a little bit. Oh,
Yes.
fun to explore. And I think that's part of the culture of Western heritage of the boots, right? Where did boots come from? Well, they come from Mexico. Most of them, you have
Yes.
a Mexican heritage, right? So there's this idea that culturally we've separated it all a little bit. But the reality is boots are part of your personality. And whether they come from Mexico or America or who knows where, they speak to who you are. So learning to wear them in the appropriate way, you got to follow Michelle or the boot babes, right? Or Western fashion behind the scenes, but you want to learn more about boots as you go. Because to say that, "Oh, I hate these kind of boots," is silly. You just don't know what you could do in those boots yet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I agree.
I love this. So tell me a little bit about what do you wear? Let's go brand wise though. What do you wear when out? What did you wear yesterday?
Yesterday what was yesterday? So yesterday was Tuesday. You know what? Honestly, yesterday I did not get to wear my boots. If
Well,
unless my Ariat boot slippers count,
yeah.
right?
They do. Ariat, man. Ariat's dominant. Beth, look what she's doing. That woman is a genius.
The boot slippers. We took the kids for a haircut, so I was wearing my Twisted X's. Yeah. Honestly, yesterday was I was working a lot on my phone, getting some content out. Yesterday's outfit was very casual, sweatpants and a good old t-shirt.
You know what?
Yeah.
All the sides of a woman are great. You can have sweatpants and a t-shirt with you or dress up as much as you want, right?
Yes.
The idea is to support each other. So I'm excited that you've been here today. Thanks for being on. Is there something you'd like to share with people about creating content or the courage it takes or the confidence it takes or gives people some encouragement? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people they feel like, oh my gosh, could I do this? They feel just like you did.
Yes. Honestly, go for it. Influencing is something you want to do, go for it. Don't be afraid. Be confident. You can do it. Anything is possible. Everybody starts somewhere. And I struggle with algorithm too. So not all the time my videos do very well, but we all got to start somewhere. So as long as you're consistent, you keep it interesting and you try your best, you will get there. When I started, I definitely started on the low views, but with consistency, I eventually got to where I'm at. So if it's something y'all want to do, go for it. Go for it.
I love that. I
And
think
don't be afraid to reach out to brands too. I do get asked a lot about how to work with brands, and you can reach out to brands, and sometimes they'll reach back out to you. So don't
yeah,
get discouraged if they don't, because I sometimes get ignored by brands too. That's all I gotta say. I don't get any special treatment. I'm treated like everybody else.
that's good advice though, because people think, oh, she has an edge. No, you don't have an edge. You just work harder. You just
Yeah,
get more attempts, right? You're okay to get no 100 times because you know that you
yeah.
might get a yes 8 times. And
Mhm.
that's the kind of consistency and determination it takes, I think, to grow a successful page like you're growing. And it speaks to the idea that if a brand's trying to pay you on your conversion as far as like your views, that's crazy, right? There's no way to predict the algorithm. Brands want to
Right.
pay because they like you. They want to pay you because they need content. They want to
Mhm.
pay because they need creation. They need creators, and it doesn't have to look perfect. Organic content sometimes ranks so much higher than perfect content. So
Yes.
have you experienced that? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Um, well, percent sure. So I have done gifted collabs, I have done paid collabs, and usually the paid collabs are for those brands that want to use my pictures for like their website or their campaign.
Creation for them, right? It's not
Mhm.
as much influence as it is content creation as a model.
Yes, and sometimes more than half the time it's for their social media pages too. And they'll allow me to also post it on my end. So for those I get paid, but usually the gifted collabs, those are usually brands have not a big, how would you say it? The exposure. They're not as exposed as the bigger brands. Of course, everybody wants to be wearing Ariat and the big name brands. So usually for those brands that are wanting to get known and gain exposure, those are usually the gifted collabs. That's how I decide on how to who to charge, who not to charge, being fair, because if I was a business owner myself, I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, I would love for someone to help me out. I don't have the funds, but I want to get my name out there. So that's the way I view it.
I think that's totally great. Everyone does it differently and there's no wrong way to do it. Whatever works for you, you do what works for you. And no one
Yes,
here, like there is no handbook on this. I did
exactly.
Shaylee's and it was really good. It was very insightful. I learned a lot about pricing, about how to price myself, about how to talk to a brand a little differently, how to think about content. And one of the things I think people don't realize is that content creation you're talking about, right? There's two separate things. There's influencing, which is like using your influence to have people maybe buy things or do things. And then
Yeah.
there's content creation, which is like modeling ads, videos, hard copy, things like this. That's a different rate. And they're all different kinds of rates. If you wanted to learn about that, you could definitely go to you or to me or to Shaylee, and anyone is willing to teach you. But don't just blindly go out there and think you can't get paid for this because you can definitely get paid for it.
Yes, and you know what? I have reached out to Shaylee a few times here and there when I come across little hiccups on my path, and she's just the sweetest gal ever. She's very helpful. And I know she's always busy, so I try not to bombard her, but she will take the time to respond even if it's like a few days later or so, you know. She's such a sweetheart. I love her so much. I think one of my goals as being an influencer is to meet her.
Oh, really? Okay. I love
Yeah,
it.
I
We'll
would
do
love
it
to
at
meet
NFR this
her.
year. Yeah, yeah. I'm so determined to put together a big group of boot babes at NFR this year for someone to take a pitch at, whether it's a hotel or an outside brand. Like for me, it's like CoverGirl or Revlon. You know who my dream is? Let me tell you
Ooh.
my dream. Revlon to sponsor a suite for the boot babes for the whole time in Las Vegas and then have all these influencers come and invite them and have it be a gifting suite. Other brands want to get their names out. They send us with product and we give it away during it because
That's
that's my
exciting.
dream. So that'll be so fun because you could meet her. We need a place where we can get together and talk without loud music and pressure and somewhere that's casual, that doesn't have
Yeah.
all of the demands. So I'm working on that. I feel like that's really important. And I love that you
Yeah.
are being excited. I'm so grateful that you've been on today. Thanks for sharing your life with us.
Thank you for having me on. Honestly, I've been wanting to meet you. So I know we've stayed in contact on social media, but it's always so great to actually, I know we're not face to face physically, but it's so good to have a good conversation with you and being able to see you. So thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful. I followed you the whole time. I think you found me in 2020 probably because I was around. I've been around since like forever, ever, 20 years of the Boot Babe social media because of the way I built that brand. And
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun that we can share that. I can't wait to see your next adventure. We'll catch up with you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thanks, Michelle. This is Ashley on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. My name is the Boot Babe. And if you don't know about cowboy boots or you want to know more, go to thebootbabes.com and you can learn everything there is to know. Today we had Michelle Darlene is her Instagram handle. I'm going to put that in the notes for you. She's an amazing mother, content creator, and barrel racer now, which is so exciting. She is someone you want to follow. So make sure you go do that. And just remember, it's always a good time to wear cowboy boots.